Hello, Bible readers. It is Wednesday, February 17th. We're reading today from 2 Chronicles chapter 9, Proverbs 30 to 31. We're finishing it up, and 1 Corinthians chapter 4 through chapter 5, verse 13. I'm going to start with 1 Corinthians. Gaining honor and avoiding shame is the primary cultural priority in Paul's time. And although we can resonate a bit with that, honor and shame, that is not the primary or dominant thing that Americans are thinking about. Our dominant cultural priority or value is acquisition. Greed is our greatest driver, motivator. More stuff, more security, financial security, the ability to have more and do more. That's what drives us. I'm not saying that's right, but that is the normal thing that people's minds and lives are working toward. Well, in Paul's time, it's honor and avoiding blame. We need to keep that in mind as we hear Paul trying to get people to move beyond honor and blame and into grace. Just like I, as a preacher, try to move myself and others beyond greed and into grace. So grace is the key to Paul's strategy, the key to Paul's theology, the key to how he communicates, to whom he communicates. Grace is also, we see in this section, Paul's greatest personal tool in the face of persecution. It, my commentary says, interrupts and derails anger and its attendant violence. So as he internalizes this grace, this understanding of how God is in his life, not only is it the thing that unlocks this greater priority in the world of honor and shame, but it's what keeps him from just getting angry and giving into a desire for violence. Chapter 5, drive out the wicked person from among you. I wrote this down because this is where I struggle with Paul. All of us should, at some points, be questioning, what is Paul saying here? Why is Paul saying it? Are any of God's creation only wicked? When he says at the end of chapter 5, drive out the wicked ones, aren't we all saints and sinners in need of grace? Like, none of us deserve it. So what level of immorality or theft or idolatry, these things that Paul lists, what level of those things warrants us to drive them out? So these are the kinds of questions I'd love, these are the kinds of debates I'd love to have with Paul. The point may not be the drive them out part as much as maybe make sure people's behavior builds up the community so that no one needs to be driven out. Knowing that that's the end consequence, maybe keep people from getting to that point. Holding each other accountable is a part of a healthy fellowship. And so how does that work? That's what Paul's trying to get at. Anyway, the chronicler in Chronicles, the chronicler may have looked back at Solomon's wealth as a window through which to view a theological truth, that God loved Israel just like God had promised. I say that because this section may seem like it's about Solomon, like looking back and saying, wow, look at how wealthy and wonderful he was. Maybe it's not about Solomon. In fact, it's not about Solomon. It's about God. It's about how God has stayed faithful to the promises made to Solomon. Remember, all the Bible is about God, not about some other things that it may seem like that's what it's about at the time. Finally, Proverbs, to bring it to a conclusion. This words of Agur section is the least understood section of the whole collection. What is it? Why is it here? Is it licensed to be skeptical? Maybe. And so then what? Well, of course, the words say go to Scripture if you're feeling cynical or having a hard time having faith. Take refuge in God and seek humble wealth, not extraordinary wealth. And finally, chapter 31 As much as in the earlier chapters, toward the beginning of Proverbs, we'd see how women can lead men astray. We see here at the end how a woman can actually, not what a woman can do negatively, but what a woman can be positively in the life of a man. It's all quite patriarchal and sexist, but it's not only that. It's also trying to show the mutuality of how genders and how people of different backgrounds can actually lift people up and not only be a negative on their lives. So I am one with my God. My God is with us, all of us, at all times and in all places.